How's everyone today?
Excellent.
Good. Welcome to FEBE, Fostering Entrepreneurial Business Education. It's a joint venture between Glide, SVDC, and Neo LaunchNet. And we've been sponsored for the last 3 years by Dunkin' Donuts. Dave Sisson, a local franchisee, has the franchise across the street, also in Amherst on 58 and in Cleveland on West 150th. Now, the reason this gentleman is standing so close to me is because I'm sharing his speaker. So I don't want you to get the wrong idea.
Close-knit group. Close-knit group.
Right. Anyway, what we have today is Jim Hegarty from FranNet.
Mm-hmm.
And Jim is sort of new, not to Cleveland, but new around here because he's just recently come into FranNet. And he's going to give us some ideas as to if you're interested in a franchise, what you need to do, how you need to do it. And it's part of that how-to series. If you recall, the first Wednesday of every month is our how-to series. Without any further ado, Jim, it's all yours.
Great, thank you, Lee. Good morning, everybody. As Lee mentioned, my name's Jim Hegarty. I'm a FranNet franchise consultant, and as part of the how-to series today, and I thought I'd make this broader than just franchising, although franchising is near and dear to my heart. But I know we have business owners in the room, we may have students, we may have people who have corporate jobs. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about today I think has application, again, across not only franchising, business ownership, buying an existing business, starting a business, and I think some of it has applications to looking for a corporate job or to trying to decide what maybe is the next step for you within the corporation that you're working with. So I hope it has some applications to all of you, but also certainly if you've ever thought about starting a business, thinking about starting a business, as friend or family member who maybe be thinking about it, this is some information that would be great for you to share with them. Just a quick background on me. I spent 15 years in corporate. My first 5 years was in accounting, auditing, and finance. I got tired of people not liking me as an auditor, so I exited that business. After that, I spent 12 years as a business owner. I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts. My family, we owned a chain of retail stores, Hallmark card stores, a couple of toy stores, and other retail ventures. We sold that in mid-2005, which was a great move because at the time, there was 5,000 Hallmark stores. There are now less than 2,500 Hallmark stores. It's gone down by 50% in 10 years. So when you think about the changing retail landscape, changing distribution, changes in industry, certainly we saw that in the business we were in. After that, I moved here to Cleveland, and I spent 10 years working for a consumer product goods company here in the Cleveland area. I was executive VP of sales. I was involved in sales and business development. And I decided that entrepreneurial business owner passion, I was having that itch again, and I decided to exit corporate life, hopefully for good, because I wanted more control of my career. I wanted a certain lifestyle. That lifestyle involved being able to travel back to Boston to visit my family whenever I wanted to and not having to worry about being at a trade show or visiting a customer in Seattle and not being able to make it home in time for family events. And then I wanted to have a greater control over my income, so I decided to get involved in a franchise. And FranNet itself is a franchise. We're a 27-year-old international franchise consulting company. We have over 70 offices in North America. We have strong partnerships with the Small Business Association. I've been involved with the SBA since 1987. And we simply put, we match people who want to be in business with a franchise that meets their needs. And that's what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today. How about going about finding a business opportunity that is the best fit for you, regardless if it's a franchise or a startup or buying an existing business. Our services are provided at no cost to our clients. Really, in our business, if we have a client who purchases a franchise, we earn a commission off of that. But I love this and got involved in this business because I love small business, I love entrepreneurship, I love being able to help people. I've heard horror stories of people who have gone into business on their own or bought a franchise based on something they heard from a friend or somebody else who was in the business or some advertisement they saw, and it ended up being not what they thought it would be and can have really bad effects on people's lives when they put that sort of investment in something that they really didn't know enough about or didn't get enough help on. So let's finding a business to own that is the best fit for you. I thought what I'd do today is really blend in about a handful of things that we do when we work with entrepreneurs and our clients as they look at business ownership and things that are really important for them to keep in mind, know about, learn about, in order to make a decision on a business that's the best fit for them. So this is my Jeopardy categories today. Why business ownership, fit versus passion, know yourself, the personal assessment, creating your business model, lowering the risk of going into business ownership, and making an educated decision. So I'm going to tie these 5 things that we discuss with our clients into anybody who's considering going into business. Common questions I'm asked. Number 1, what is the hottest franchise? I always get that question, and my response back to somebody is the hottest franchise is the one that you can put the least amount of money in, get the biggest return on your investment on, and the trends and demographics support it to be successful for a long period of time. And they look at me and they go, well, that wasn't quite the answer I thought I was going to get, but that's what we tell people. Other question, I'm passionate about donuts. Do you have a franchise like that? And I may say yes or no, but I say, you know what? A donut franchise, you already told me you don't want to have employees, you don't want to have a retail store, you don't want to work long retail hours. Well, you know what? Donuts probably isn't a good franchise for you. Other questions, how much does a franchise cost? How much money can I make? Great questions, but they need to be put in perspective and asked at an appropriate point in time once you really understand a lot more about yourself, your business skills, and what kind of business is really going to be a good fit for you. So I'm always asked these questions, and what I do is I bring it all back to people. I say, why own your own business? I want everybody to imagine for a minute you are the owner of a successful business. How would your life be better? Now, some of you in here may be business owners. Your life may be better in some regards. Maybe it's not as good as you want it to be in others. But I always ask this question to kind of refocus people to what's really important to start with here. I mean, to figure out what business is a good fit for you, you need to really start back at this point. And when I mention this to them, you can see their eyes going, and they're laying on a beach somewhere, and they're shopping all the time, and a lot of things. But seriously, it causes them to refocus on what is the most important question up front to ask themselves. And we ask them, how would you define success in owning a business? Is it fulfillment that you get out of owning your own business? Is it flexibility of having a schedule that you can align to what you want it to be? Is it independence? Is it control? Financial security? If you came in out of corporate, no more layoffs you have to worry about? Or is it money? As I mentioned for myself, it was being able to have flexibility to go home and visit my family whenever I wanted to, greater control over my career and my income. But this is a real important first step for anybody who's considering business ownership, to take into account those things and get an outline of what is important for them and why they're going into business ownership. So that was step number 1 that we talk with our clients about. This is an important, probably one of the more important things we talk with our clients about, fit versus passion. They talk about why they want to go into business ownership. A lot of times, I have a passion for this, or I have a passion for that. And I'm all for passion, but I have to rein them in a little bit initially, and let's talk about fit first. So if you think about fit in regards to whether an individual is fit for business ownership, these are some of the things. Right size or shape for, suited for, it's an appropriate business for them, they're qualified for it, they're competent to be a business owner, they're prepared and ready for business ownership, to put with precise placement, you know, getting that right placement exactly for who you are and what your skill sets are. And so they're more apt not to focus on this necessarily up front. They're excited about business ownership, but I have to kind of level set them on these important things. This is what they love to talk about, passion. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Jim, before you go on to passion, on the fit
Mm-hmm.
side of it, how do we do a
Assessment?
Right, a self-assessment as to whether or not we're fit?
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Got a couple slides coming for you.
I saw the whole presentation.
Thank you for teeing it up for me. Passion, this is what they love to talk about. Something powerful and emotional. They have a compelling feeling for it, a desire for it, a lust for it, an enthusiasm for it, fondness for it. And those are all really, really super important things. You have to have all of that if you're going to be a business owner. But if you run just with passion and never take into account fit and a lot of other things, that's where a lot of people run into mistakes and errors down the road. Passion is really critical and important, but when we talk to our customers, it's about having the proper balance of both of these is critical to finding a business opportunity that's right for you. You want to make sure it's the right fit, you have the right skill sets for it, it aligns with the investment level you want to make, the income level you want to make, and you need to have all those things. You also need to be passionate for what it is you decide to go into, but this is a very delicate balance, and for anybody, whether you're doing a startup, whether you're buying an existing business, going into franchising, or even if you're in corporate and you're doing a job search and you have a passion for certain things, it's important to really focus on both of these and have the right balance. And if done right, with the appropriate mix of fit and passion, and you can be very successful regardless of what kind of business that you go into. So this is a very important segment that we talk with our clients about, and I think it's critical for anybody who's trying to find the right business for them is to take into account both of these. How do you find a business that is a great fit? So I'm talking to my clients about that. This is one of the most important phrases that we share with our clients. Separate the function of the business from the function of the business owner. Just because I like donuts doesn't mean that I have the skill set to be an owner of a donut shop. Right? Just because I love sports doesn't mean I have the skill set to be the owner of the Cleveland Browns. I might rather be the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I went to the game last night. They were terrible. Maybe I don't want to own them either. But this is really important, and we really ground our clients. I ground my clients in this because when I start talking to them about specific businesses, and it happened to me, I was a FranNet client. I ended up finding and getting involved in the FranNet franchise through FranNet. I was doing my own search, and they brought up a couple of businesses to me. One was a cleaning business. And I'm sitting there in my shirt and tie, out of corporate America. I'm like, a cleaning business? You know what? I went right to the function of the business. I go, I'm not going to be cleaning houses or commercial. And the person I was working with, the friend, said, no. But wait a second. You're good at managing people. You're good at putting together a business plan. You're good at going out and doing sales and business development. Those are the things that you told me you're good at and you want to do, so maybe you shouldn't discount that cleaning business early on. This is one of the biggest things that I confront with my clients is the emotional response to things that I may talk to them about. So it's really critical. Separate the function of the business from the function of the business owner, okay? In the end, we do have to make sure you have a business that you can function and is a good match for you. And it needs to be something that you have a passion for and enjoy. But sometimes earning an income, having the lifestyle you want is in itself the most important thing, and actually the route that you get that through, the route you get it through isn't always as important. So I always really urge my clients, and a lot of times have to ground them in this important area. What is the right business for me? Okay, so when I finally get them to that point, asking those sort of questions, what we start is getting the answer begins with assessing aspects about yourself. And one of the things I have to talk to my clients about first is business ownership right for you? And if we get them to the point that, yeah, we agree, yes, business ownership may be right for you, then we can work on, let's find the business that's the best fit for you. So what I do with all my clients have to take an assessment. It's an online assessment actually, it takes them about 20, 30 minutes. Because I have to get a real good, clear picture of who they are and a profile of what they're all about. And I need to make sure and work with them that this assessment, the results that we get, are true and accurate. I'm going to ask them a lot of other information that I can get a better feel for them working one-on-one. But this is a starting point for us. And it's great for them because it centers them to look at some of this information that we pull out of an assessment. The characteristics that we assess in our clients are these: motives, values, core competencies, leadership styles, sales potential, and orientation. How many people have worked in corporate America before or do currently? Okay, we've all had a lot of tests we've taken, 360 tests and all kinds of other Freudian tests and a lot of different things. A lot of times those tests, parts of them focus on a personality. Ours has nothing to do with personality. You could have the great personality or the worst personality. It's not always the greatest predictor of whether you're going to be a good business owner or not. What we're looking at are things like motives. Okay? Motives or examples would be when I took this test, I'm what's called a belonger. Personal relationships are really important to me. Building a relationship, having trust and respect, giving that to people and getting it back from them. That's really important to me. For other people, a motive is achievement. They're all about achievement. That's what they're focused on, achievement and recognition. We want to tease those things out so we can understand them. Values. Are people about honesty? Are they about respect? What are those core internal items that really guide who we are in life and make us who we are? We want to understand those. Core competencies. This one makes sense to everybody. Are you good at sales? Are you good at marketing? Are you good at technology? Are you good at client management? We pull those out. Leadership styles. How do you lead? Are you an autocratic leader? Are you more of a democratic sort of leader? Get the whole team together, get buy-in, let them all contribute to how the business is going to be run. We want to understand that because what I'm trying to do is match my client with a business that's the best fit for them based on these characteristics. And then sales potential and orientation. Every business involves some aspect of sales. I need to understand if my client is going to be good at sales, and if they are, what sort of sales do they like to do? Consultative? Are they more relational selling? Or are they competitive, man? They don't mind cold calling. They'll walk into any place. They'll tell people who they are, what they sell, and they'll just go at it. Some people are good at that, other people aren't. And I need to understand that because the businesses that I represent have different sorts of sales that they do that you need to be good at. So we do this online assessment. It's a 10-page printout I share it directly with my clients, and we work one-on-one in discussing it. Usually it's 95% of the time it's accurate. You know, there's always 5%, hey, we'll talk about and discuss it, but it's very accurate. FranNet's pretty unique because this is a proprietary assessment we use and we created it because Sharon here and Lee here may have the exact same skill sets, and I place them both in a franchise. Sharon does great. Lee, I'm sorry, you failed miserably. Why? Why? We couldn't understand why. And we developed, FranNet developed this proprietary test to help get a better profile because franchisors know the profile of their top performers. And that's what this is all about. I want to refer people who have the skill sets, the values, the motives, the leadership styles that match up with the top performer at franchise X. And that's what this is all about. Our franchisees, the franchisors that we represent, are trained on this. They know about it. They get a copy of it for the clients that I refer to them. And so that assessment is really critical.
Jim, on the core competencies, do you have a way that you can drill down into the unique abilities of the individual? Because I may say I'm great at sales, but in fact my unique ability is not sales. My unique ability may be something else, but I think it's sales.
Yeah. So that's where, this is a starting point for us. This gets us a good profile to start a discussion with our clients. And then we start really drilling down into those questions, but one-on-one. So that certainly is critical for us to tease out. We get copies of the resume, we sit down and talk to them about all of that to get that, because it is critical to take it to the next level. This is a starting point for us. The profile helps us understand their business DNA, or what we call their inner entrepreneur. It's really critical to understand, do they have that DNA or not? I mean, I have to have some difficult conversations with some of my clients because if I don't think they're right for business ownership, or the timing isn't right, or they don't have the investment available to them, I have to be honest with them. It's not an easy discussion, but just as much as I want to help people get into business ownership, I also don't want people to make a mistake if it's not right for them. I mentioned it's not really a personality test, and so having this clear profile of our clients is critical to finding a business that's the best fit for them. If you're not working with a consultant, I would recommend you be sure to do your own self-assessment. Create a checklist of the key characteristics that make up your profile. Document them on a sheet of paper. Refer to them throughout your business ownership exploration process. Now, there's a lot of companies out there that will do an assessment of you for a nominal fee. So if you're not working with a consultant like myself or some other consultant, there are opportunities out there for you to pay a nominal fee to have assessments done. But I think it's really important. For us, it's all about helping our clients get things down on paper. When you're exploring business ownership, as those of you who have done it before, you have so much going on in your mind, man. There's a lot going on, especially if you're still working. You need to get grounded, get a plan down on the paper, so you have reference points that help you while you're going through your business exploration process. So the assessment's critical. So we got an assessment done of our client, and then the next step for us is business model. So a lot of people have heard of business models, business plan. More people have heard of business plans than they do a business model. When we talk about a business model, so obviously in the traditional sense, a business model is the framework of what your business is going to be, your go-to-market strategy, the resources that you're going to need, things like that. When we refer to a business model at FranNet, we're referring to something similar, but really what it is it's the framework of all the things that you're looking for in a business. And that's a lot. And we work with people to get that down on paper. So it's a framework of what you want. It's also a criteria of what you're going to use to judge whether or not a business opportunity is the right fit for you. People use many criteria for searching, for selecting a business. Unfortunately, many of them are wrong or irrelevant. What's in a wrong or irrelevant criteria? Or could be, you know a friend who bought a franchise and done really, really well at it, and he tells you should buy one of these, and you go and buy it. But you know what? Your friend and you are two totally different people. He's got the DNA for that sort of business, and you don't. Not that you're not right for a business, but it's not the right one for you. It's really critical to develop specific criteria you want to determine if a business is right for you. It's absolutely critical, a really, really important thing to do. Because your ultimate success in owning a business, both financially and emotionally, is going to depend on how that business provides what you need. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. Owning a business, there's certain financial things you want to get out of it, but there's emotional things. Fulfillment, rewards, freedom, lifestyle, flexibility. This is one of the most important things that I do with my clients, is helping them build that business model. At FranNet, we build a one-page business model. As I mentioned, it's a framework for what they will use to judge the fit of a business. It outlines things like, what are they looking for to get out of a business, which I talked a little bit about at the beginning, what income they want to earn, what investment level they want to make, what type of ownership role do they want. There's really three types of ownership roles that we talk about. Owner-operator, you're hands-on, you might be there working your business directly. Semi-absentee, you've got somebody managing your business, but you're still involved at a high level. Or absentee, you bought a business, you've put somebody in charge of that business, and they're running that business for you. What are the specific characteristics they want in a business? I'll talk a little bit more about that. What are their long-term goals for an exit strategy, retirement, or leaving a business as a legacy? And what this all really is the must-haves that they want out of a business. So we want to build that sort of business model framework, get it on paper. As they're exploring business ownership, they can reference back to it during the process to ground themselves and to grade whether a business is the right fit for them or not. The business model that we use, these are some of the components that are in there. Core competencies, primary motives, I talked a little bit about that. Business characteristic preferences, I'm going to talk more. What are their business goals? What are their goals for the business, and then what are their personal goals? So my personal goal is, you know what, I want to get my family involved in my business, or I want to leave my business for my child, or I want to have a business that affords me a flexible schedule where I can go and do different things. I like to travel, I like to hunt, I like to go to sporting events. Creating an effective, meaningful business model is critical for determining if a business is right for you or not. Same thing applies if you're searching for a job. I mean, these things have application both in a business and looking for a job. You do many of the same things when you go out on job interviews. You're collecting information. You want to come back, plot it down, and look at, is this match up with the things that I'm looking to get out of a business? So what do you want from the business? When I talk about that, what are the pieces? Do you want challenge and recognition and prestige? Are you looking to build equity for retirement? Do you have time for family and friends? Independence and control? Financial security? Whatever it may be, it's really important to drill down and understand what you want from the business. What are your core competencies? Customer service, marketing, technical skills, sales. What are the things that you're good at and you have the expertise at that you want to leverage and use in a business? You know, if it's sales, then, you know, let's make sure we have a business where, you know, you can put your sales skills to use. And if you have a business that you're interested in, but you're missing some key skills, well, then I'm going to talk to you about making sure you hire people who can bring those skills and help you. But if you don't have those skills and you have to hire somebody, well, what's that going to do? That's an extra expense to you. That's less money you're going to be making on the bottom line. And if you told me on your bottom line you want to make X, and now there's a business you're telling me you're interested in, but you want to make this amount of income, but you got to hire somebody and pay them X, and now we're going to subtract that, and you're not going to make that in the bottom line, then that's something that we have to talk about. So these are the sorts of things as we progress with our clients through the process that come up, and we try and prepare them as much as possible for it up front. Really, a lot of what I do in my business is I'm trying to de-risk the process for going into business. Going into business can be a risky proposition. It can be scary. It can be full of fear and doubt as you get into it until you get it up and running and being successful. So what I'm trying to do up front is trying to de-risk the process for my client by educating them on how to do these things and that you do need to do them, educating them on franchising, educating them on how to do business research and due diligence so that they don't make a lot of the mistakes that people make. I mean, people who don't get assistance typically have a higher percentage rate of failure. Doesn't mean they all fail, but if somebody's going out and doing something on a whim and a passion or something that they heard from a family member or they know somebody who was successful in a business, there's some risk involved in doing it only that way. Business characteristic preferences. All right, this is where I start getting my clients really bombarding them with questions and I get the cross-eyed look. So we've talked about you want to be in business. It looks like, you know, you're a good fit for business ownership with your skill set, the investment that you can make. Let's start drilling down now on your business characteristics preferences. Do you want employees? Yeah, I want a place, okay. How many do you want? 5, 6, 10, 15, okay. Do you want to be part-time or full-time? There's a lot of different things these days with Obamacare and health regulations and expenses. full-time or part-time, skilled or unskilled. So there's a lot of questions now we start drilling down on. What's your budget? What's the investment you want to make? And I talk to them a lot of times when you see an advertisement for franchising, you say, hey, buy this franchise for $25,000. And unfortunately, if people don't do the research, they find out that was only the initial upfront franchising fee. It didn't cover your equipment, working capital, and a lot of other things. So we educate our customers on the all-in cost of buying it. What's the image or the business environment? Are you only looking for something where you could be dressed like I am, or with a shirt, or with a tie, or a suit coat? Are you looking for something that maybe you feel comfortable wearing a golf shirt with your company logo on it when you're out networking? You know, does it have to be a corporate office setting, or can be a warehouse or some production facility or printing company, or you know what? What kind of hours do you want to work? You know, I talked a little bit about that. How many units do you want to own? Do you want to buy a single unit and just run it and that's what you want? Or are you looking to have multiple units or buy a whole territory? More questions for them. What type of customers do you want? Do you want a repeat customer? Or do you want a one-time customer that you make a lot of money, you know, a big sale off of? Do you want to sell a service or a product? Do you want a new franchise, or do you want established business? What's the maturity level of a business that you're looking for? How much room for growth do you want there to be? And there's various other items that I talk to my clients about, but this is when they start, okay, I've got to really think about these things. That's why we talk to them about it and we build that business model. So as I start to talk to them about some franchises and they start to do their due diligence on them, then they can come back and reference this business model that we've started to build and all these questions that we've asked. The other thing I talk to them about is really important. Identify your financial and lifestyle goals. What are you looking to get out of business ownership in these regards? And a big mistake a lot of people make when they're looking at business ownership of any type is they think short term, or they don't think long term. They don't look at it both ways. So when I'm talking to my customers, I'm like, what do you want this business to look like in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Some of that number of years will depend on the client and where they are at in their life and their career stage. So it's really important to focus and have a long-term strategy. Now, that strategy probably might change over time, but at least try to establish one up front, and we incorporate that into a business model as well. So again, creating that business model, having it down on paper is important. We use a one-pager. We use a little bit of a flow chart here, but in the end, the client's business model, what are your core competencies? What are your primary motives? What's the business characteristic preference? What are your business and personal goals? What are your business facets? And important, this isn't a static document. It's updated as you progress through your exploration of business ownership, because you learn different things about a business or franchising. In this case, as you're going through it, that may have you say, okay, I got to think a little bit different now. Maybe I don't want employees. You know, maybe I don't want a business where it could be 24/7 and we're getting calls to go do things. So we help them create a real simple business model, because you want to create something that's so overwhelming. This is a nice framework reference point for them to go back and forth and work on. Any questions about that?
From the time that you start with a client to
Yes.
the time that they acquire a franchise, what's the average amount of time?
Oh, probably in the 60 to 90 day, maybe more 90-day time frame, because the due diligence that they have to go through. And typically when we're working with a client, we're gonna talk to them about a handful of franchise concepts and ask them to narrow it down. And they could work at any one time, start to do research on 2 to 4 franchises. But we could have ones that can close in as little as 60 days. We can have ones that could take a year or 2 years.
And then once they acquire the franchise, are you done with them, or do you still follow up?
I mean, you know what, me on a personal basis, I stay in touch and follow up with them, but at FranNet, our job is to help them find the one that's the best fit for them. Probably along the way, we're going to connect them. They always come to us then for, hey, I need an accountant, I need an attorney, I need a business advisor, a financial advisor. You know, we'll help and make some referrals on that. But for us, you know, we're really helping to get them to the point of finding a business that's the right fit for them. The other big thing that we talk about is lowering your risk. You know, there's a lot of risk going into business ownership, and this is one of the biggest things that our clients or anybody looking at a business is concerned with are, what are my risks? Is there competition? How about, you know, the economy? What if the workers I hire to manage it aren't the right people? So there's a lot of different things, and everything I've already talked about, as I mentioned, is about lowering risk by educating people on how to do research, by building a business plan, by knowing why you want to get into business. But the one thing I want to touch base a little bit on today is one of the biggest risks our clients raise is the impact of a changing economy may have on a business. You know, right now our economy is okay, some industry is good, some not bad. We've come through some really challenging times, but this is where taking that long-term thought process to your business and building your business plan is important. So what we talk about to our clients is lower the risk by looking for businesses with specific market characteristics. So one, you got to understand what your risk profile is, and that's something that we get through our assessment, but also in talking with our clients by, you know, okay, what's the investment level you want to make? What do you feel comfortable with? What is maybe a little stretch goal or an investment level? We want to understand that risk tolerance in regard to investment, but in regard to a number of other items. But the economy is one of the biggest ones that we talk about, and what we're trying to do is put our clients in position with businesses that can be successful in many different economic conditions. There is no business that's 100% recession proof, we know that, but there are many that are recession resistant and continue to do well in different economic conditions. So here's a few examples, and it's great if you're thinking about going into business or starting a startup or buying an existing business or a franchise, businesses to think about. Businesses that are growing markets driven by demographic trends. There's always demographic trends that are driving certain businesses forward and challenging others. So here's a few examples. Senior care, #1 growing demographic in America. 10,000 people a day are retiring, 7,000 people a day are turning 85. That baby boomer demographic is huge. So senior care is one of the fastest growing and biggest franchise industries out there. People need care in the home. People may just be assistants with doing their chores, maybe assistant dressing as they're getting older. They may need some medical skilled assistance in the home. People want to live in their homes for as long as they can, so there are services that they or their family members are bringing in for them. In the portfolio of franchises that I represent, over 10% of them, or about 10% of them at the moment, are related to senior care. It's a huge market, it's a huge need, but here's one thing I'll mention to you when I talk to my clients about that. You can make a lot of money in this, but based on what I've done in building my business model for my client, understanding their profile, if helping others or doing something that's a benefit for a community is not higher in their motive or value profile, then I don't know if this is the right business for them. You need to care about people to get into this business. You can make a lot of money, but if you don't care about people and your workers don't have that sense of caring, then you're not going to be successful a long time. Because I know when my mother, God rest her soul, has challenged with brain cancer, we had to bring people into the home, and I tell you what, they made the world the difference by having people that care about it. If it was just somebody who was making money and they're sending anybody to the home, I probably wouldn't use their services. Other examples in senior care, people need their homes modified to be able to continue living. Maybe they need a wheelchair ramp, maybe they need a stair lift or other things. So there's an example. Residential repairs and cleaning. Do I have any millennials in the room? I got a few millennials maybe in the room here. You know what millennials love? I can't find it. The computer, their cell phone, their laptop, technology. They love technology, which is great. When it breaks, though, they don't know how to repair it. So I have a franchise that deals in cell phone repair, electronic repair. They're doing great. They're already sold out in the Cleveland market. So millennials are another demographic that are continuing to grow, and they have specific needs, and there's franchises that are working to fit their needs. While millennials are great at technology, they're not necessarily great at repairing or cleaning their homes. So as they're growing older and they're buying homes, as they need repairs and remodels, there's a lot of franchises that are focused on that. And obviously they don't just work with millennials, but it's a growing business. Again, fitness and wellness, there's a trend that's continuing to grow and grow and grow. Essential services. Here's another one that is good at all different sorts of economic conditions. Hair care. Okay, my hair didn't stop growing during the bad economy, nor did a lot of other people. So hair care, it's a great business in all sorts of economic conditions. And franchisors own a lot of that market. Automotive repair, anybody know what the average age of a car on the road is today?
7.
Oh, what? 11.4 years. Those people aren't taking that car back to the dealership anymore. They're going to a branded auto repair company, and most of those are franchises. So people, regardless of the economy, there's essential things that they need to have done to their cars, regardless of the economic conditions. Damage restoration, people's homes flood, they have fires, they have mold. The economy doesn't impact that. If it happens, they need to have it repaired. So here's another example of the types of businesses we talk to our clients about, and it's good for people to think about. Less risk, can be successful in all different sorts of economies. And businesses that help other small businesses thrive. Small businesses can't afford a lot of services. They don't have in-house IT, they've outsourced HR departments, so a lot of franchises that are very successful these days help small businesses. They outsource and they use these third-party franchises to do all these different things. So risk, that's some of the ways that we look at risk. The other way, so where are the good, proven, successful, safe, and affordable businesses that thrive in all economic conditions? Well, there's 3 ways you can go into business. You guys know a lot of this. Build your own business, buy an existing business, or buy a franchise. You need to understand the risks, the advantages and disadvantages of all 3 of those, and we talk to our clients about them, because even though they're interested in franchising, I wanted to understand and talk about the other ways to go into business that are out there. So even if you are building your own business from scratch, I highly recommend you go out and do some research about buying existing business in the same business, in the same industry, or franchising and what's going on, because you learn a lot about what your possible success or challenges could be of starting your own business based on what's going on in that same industry. So we talk to our clients about starting your own business. The advantages: total control, make all the decisions, room for creativity, no predetermined rules, large upside, build a business from your passion. We talked about that. What are some of the disadvantages? You've got to create all the systems on your own. There's no blueprint there for you. Limited financial options. Getting financing for a startup business is one of the most challenging out there compared to buying an existing business or franchising. It's slower to ramp up, and the SBA statistics show that startups have the highest failure rate because of some of those disadvantages and challenges. Now, I'm not saying any one of these businesses options are good or bad. I'm just putting some of the facts out there for my clients to think about. Buying an existing business, the advantages: it's got cash flow, probably has customer goodwill, they have actual financial results, they're more attractive to lenders, established market, customers, employees in place. Hopefully you're getting owner financing, because if you're buying an existing business and you're not getting some help from the existing buyer, that can be a red flag. What are the disadvantages? Well, the cash flow, hopefully it really is what they said it was. Maybe there's some customer badwill you don't know about. I haven't found a business for sale that is underpriced to start with. Typically they're overpriced. Maybe the seller has some hidden motives. Maybe they own a donut shop, independent donut shop, but they've heard there's a Dunkin' Donuts coming in the market, and if they don't disclose that to you or you don't find out about it, then that's a problem. Higher debt service, and you know what? Hopefully your employees have been well trained by your owner and that owner trained you. So advantages, disadvantages. Franchising. Some people aren't even sure what this is, but simply put, it's the creation of a distribution channel to build brand identity, attain market dominance. You have a franchise headquarters that started the business. They're selling individual units to franchisees and they support them so those franchisees can sell and service their customers. Great. A franchisor who's at the headquarters, the only way they're going to make money is to help the franchisees sell the most they can because they get a royalty from those sales. A franchise, you're basically buying a license to use the name and trademarks, the products and the business services in exchange for an initial franchise fee and ongoing royalties. The advantages of buying a franchise: existing name recognition and a licensed trademark. A proven business system. This is the biggest thing about buying a franchise. It's a proven system and model. You don't have to build it from scratch. It's already working out there, assuming you are aligning yourself with a good franchise. They provide training and support to you upfront and ongoing. They have the marketing expertise and the purchasing power. Marketing a business is critical these days. If you're starting your own business and you don't know how to market, that could be a challenge. Franchisees have amongst the lowest failure rate compared to starting, for instance, starting an existing business from the ground, or and the SBA shares statistics on that on a regular basis. Why does it have a lower failure rate? Because they already have the existing system in place and they have the leverage for purchasing power, for marketing and other things. It's a regulated industry. This is one thing a lot of people don't know. Franchises are regulated by the federal government. The Federal Trade Commission oversees them. And this is one of the most transparent businesses you can look at and do research on, because they're required to provide you with what is called the financial disclosure document. It basically would be with like me giving you the book on my life. They have to tell you how long they've been in business, who all the management people are, their experience, have they ever been bankrupt, have they ever been sued, what's the name, address, and phone number of every existing franchisee there is in their system. You know what's great about that? Because when you're doing your research, you can call up anybody and ask them any question you want to verify the information you're getting from the franchise headquarters is accurate. And lastly, the franchises, it's kind of a culture of teamwork, because you and all the other franchisees, you're helping each other out and learning from each other and talking to each other about helping to make your businesses successful. Disadvantages: fewer industry options. There's about 90 different industries that are covered by franchising. They have a structured operating system. It's a proven model. They want you to come in and follow it. One of the things that we test on our assessment is whether you're a compliant person or not. Because if you can't follow a system or process, I don't know if franchising is for you. Because if you're that total entrepreneur who likes to wing it and be super creative on every day, you know what? Franchising might not be for you. Structured operating system, territory restrictions. You know, if you're buying an existing territory, you can't sell all over the world. You can only sell their products. There's ongoing royalty payments. And like a business, you're starting from the ground up. You know, there's a little cash flow, low initial cash flow. So everyone, there's advantages and disadvantages too. A couple of things I want to point out, which ties into the last thing I want to mention to you. Franchising fact: it's not just fast food. There are over 3,100 franchises in the US. So many clients I talk to about franchising assume things based on what they've heard, or myths, or hearsays, or third party. Franchising, 3,100 different, 90 industry. You can just see some of the categories that are out there. Another fact, a lot of people, oh, franchise, it's so expensive. You got to spend $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $1 million. Here's the facts: 50,000 franchises. 13% of franchises are $50,000 or less, all in cost, including your working capital. 17% are 50 to 100. 28% are 100 to 250. So you can see 30% of franchises, of those 3,000 franchises that exist, cost less than 100,000 or less to get into. That's all your cost and all in working capital. So I mentioned those couple of things because they're kind of myths or facts. This is the last thing I want to leave you with that's important when you're buying a business that we talk to our customers about. client. An educated buyer is the best buyer. Absolutely. Do sufficient research and due diligence, leveraging multiple information sources. Don't rely on one source. When I work with my clients, I go, don't just rely on me. Don't just rely on what the franchisor is talking to you about. Talk about to other franchisees, do your own independent research, but avoid analysis paralysis. We have deals that might not close for 2 years because somebody is paralyzed by doing analysis, and they beat themselves to death doing it. Don't rely on hearsay, myths, and unconfirmed third-party commentary. That's one of the reasons I mentioned franchising. Everybody thinks it's only McDonald's and 7-Elevens. It's a lot more than that. Engage professional consultants where necessary to help minimize mistakes and reduce financial risk. Many consultant services are free, hello, or at a nominal cost to you. Penny wise and pound foolish. You know what, some clients I talk about and I say, you really want to engage a franchise attorney to review your agreement? They go, I looked at it, it's okay. I'm like, you know what, you're spending $100,000 on a business and you don't want to spend $1,500 to get a, what could be a 300-page document, franchise disclosure document reviewed. It's just not wise. So I always encourage people when they're looking into business. I understand you want to manage the cost of doing your research and due diligence, but don't make the mistake of really cutting it too short. That's it. I just wanted to share these kind of tips, these things that we really work with our clients on that I think have value regardless of what kind of business you're looking to get into. So I'm happy to answer any questions. If anybody's interested in taking the assessment we give me your business card. It's a free assessment. It takes about 20-30 minutes online. I'll send you your results within a day. It's kind of a neat little snapshot that you can get of yourself and see what it says about you and how we look at and talk to people who go into business ownership. Thank you.